back to PeaksChatz. The second episode we watched this week is Season 2, Episode 19, Variations on Relations. This episode was directed by Jonathan Sanger, who produced The Elephant Man for Lynch, as well as the films Vanilla Sky and Flight of the Navigator. It was written by Mark Frost and Harley Payton, and it aired April 11th, 1991. Magellan, we're still here. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back to the pod.
It's good to be back.
It is, and it's good to have you back, honestly. But we are here to discuss what is considered by many ranking websites to be the worst episode of Twin Peaks. And we had to recruit a guest. So I implore you, listener, please don't shock the geek. It's Six.
Hello. I'm here as a Twin Peaks expert. I've listened to multiple Twin Peaks podcasts. I have done a whole lot of reading on the wiki. I've eaten multiple brie and butter baguette sandwiches,
Great. And
which I made myself, of course.
How many episodes of the show?
Is that really relevant?
I guess not.
No,
I am just here to say that this is the best episode of Twin Peaks I've ever seen.
That you've seen. Okay, I see.
Okay, interesting. And
it may also be the only one I've ever seen.
Oh,
see, here's the thing. I have anxiety. I have anxiety.
Sure. Welcome to it. Yeah.
And David Lynch is a director who's very good at playing with anxiety, and I admire that about him. But I find it very difficult to watch things he's made because I get so fucking stressed out. And so I've been mostly happy to watch Twin Peaks and admire it from a distance. And by watch Twin Peaks, I mean not watch Twin Peaks.
Well, you listen to several Twin Peaks podcasts, right? You like many of our guests and friends have listened to like the Idle Thumbs Twin Peaks rewatch, all the way through, and yet still have committed for years now, for at least like 4 or 5 years, committed to the bit of I'm not going to ever watch Twin Peaks until
Variations on Relations.
Tonight.
So I'm here to say, I'm not going to tell you what the best thing in Twin Peaks is, right? Because best is such a like
subjective.
Andy and Lucy.
I mean, you're speaking from a position of such authority when you say best.
Right.
I can say that the best game of all time is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, or at least it was until Breath of the Wild came out, because Breath of the Wild kind of dethroned it. But that's because I'm a real expert in the field. And also when it comes to video games, I'm really very willing to be an obnoxious pain in the ass. But when it comes to like the best stuff in Twin Peaks, I have done a lot of homework, but I will admit the fact that I haven't watched it does mean my authority is somewhat undermined. What I will say is this contains some of the things I like the best about Twin Peaks.
Okay.
I don't watch Twin Peaks, but if you had a show that was just like Wyndham Earl and Leo and Hank with his stupid domino, I would watch that.
Oh my God.
That shit's terrific.
Oh my God.
That's what I live for. What if everyone licked a domino?
What if everyone licked a domino?
This is my take on the entire Wyndham Earl plot.
Hey man, the story's cool, but you promised me beer.
That's how I feel about all of it.
But he gets beer, so it's okay.
He does eventually get beer. The incredible Ted Raimi bringing a once-in-a-lifetime performance to this character of Chet? Is his... What? No, his name.
Rusty Tomasky. It never really comes up. He's only credited as Heavy Metal Youth. But yes.
I want to be Heavy Metal Youth. Damn. Good for Ted.
He's really not a youth. I mean, not to slander, and nothing wrong with having age on your bones. But he's not a youth. He's like a grown man. I don't know why the summary calls him a rock and roll youth. Anyway,
I think he's supposed to be like a 19-year-old or something in the context of the episode.
He's definitely in his late 30s.
Yeah. Anyway.
You guys want to know how old Ted Raimi was? He was 26 years old when this episode was filmed.
Oof.
Okay.
Wait.
All right.
Interesting, right? Well,
Six,
I appreciate you.
And I'm pretty old seeming, so.
I'm 15. I'm a grandmother. Variations on relations. I want to dig especially into why people dislike this episode so much, and it seems like the three of us are going to come at this from a contrasting perspective to that. But first, Majan, what did you in general think of Variations on Relations?
Oh, it fucking slaps. This episode.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This episode rocks my socks. It's so busted. And that's the thing with season 2 is like when it gets completely busted, it circles around to being fun again.
Yep.
When you have the episodes that are only slightly busted and they're boring or they're like trying to do something good. But this one is just, I mean, it has the best of Gordon Cole in it. Lines that have haunted our dreams since we first watched the show. It's got even more Lana Milford in the Mayor, which I didn't think we would see more of, but it's got even arguably the best of that. And it's just good. And telling me that this is the worst episode of Twin Peaks is the wrong, it's just the wrong opinion to have.
When Emerald puts a guy in a chess piece.
Yeah, he shoots him with a crossbow.
And when I first watched that, I was like, how thoughtless that they would make it so that he builds this whole thing and then shoots him with a crossbow and obviously would have to then fix his own paper mache, right?
Yeah.
Au contraire, this is actually a brilliant move because this way the paper mache absorbs the blood. No blood gets on the floor of the cabin, so you can't track it back to this cabin.
Oh God, the perfect
Bungo.
crime.
He's brilliant. He's a genius.
Wyndham Earle has too much time on his hands, and I don't know how he's getting all of this stuff because
I love that.
He rolled into town with nothing but the shirt on his back, and he somehow under that shirt was hiding a chessboard, chess pieces, a crossbow, some loose newspapers, glue, various disguises, a shock collar for Leo Johnson. It's like, do you have some kind of a bottomless pouch that you're pulling things out of?
I mean, I think you're overthinking this. He just went shopping.
I guess you're right. I guess he just went shopping.
He used to be making that good FBI money. He's got some squirreled away. He's got, a budget.
True. And it's from all appearances, he doesn't need to eat, it seems like. So I guess he goes to the diner in a disguise when he needs to eat. So,
well, he doesn't need to eat, but he just does it, for fun.
He just enjoys destroying food with his teeth. Yeah.
So both of y'all watched the episode, but I believe it's true that both of you didn't have access to the Log Lady intro still, correct?
Correct. For me.
Six, did you watch the Log Lady intro?
No, I'm anti Log Lady intro.
Tell me more about that.
It's an unnecessary, it's an artificial framing device used to sort of add like faux mystery and artifice where there was none originally. The show speaks for itself. You don't need to have this like coy pretend extra mystery added on.
It's kind of like that scene in Return of the Jedi where Jabba's palace band gets a whole song.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need all that. I didn't need to see this happen.
This one's for the nerd. This is for the Max Rebo stands, a.k.a. moi. Anyways, you talk about adding depth, adding character. This is the most they keep just escalating how unhinged the Log Lady intros get. And I can't believe this is great. I'm going to read this to you. The Log Lady is on one. She decided that there is no fourth wall, and the following is the intro for this episode. Pie. Whoever invented the pie here was a great person. In Twin Peaks, we specialize in cherry pie and huckleberry pie. We do have many other types of pie, and at the Double R Diner, Norma knows how to make them all better than anyone I have ever known. I hope Norma likes me. I know I like her and respect her. I've spit my pitch gum out of my mouth onto her walls and floors, and sometimes onto her booths. Sometimes I get angry and do things I'm not proud of. I do love Norma's pies. I love pie with coffee. Margaret Lanterman. What?
Now, as a person who has done for some fiction pods that I've done, occasionally I do some sort of preamble lore thing for them. And sometimes you're like, fuck, dude, I don't know what to say about this one. Well, let me tell you about the Star Elves. This has nothing to do with the fucking episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the point of that? I guess there's pie at one point. And
technically.
And that's just it. It also looked like we were in a totally different part of the double R that didn't look like the double R, but I guess it was part of it. But that is not germane to this episode.
Why couldn't you just have had the log lady being like, I think chess is stupid?
Oh, man. When was the last time either of you did paper mache, by the way?
I have never done paper mache.
Not even in the school art
No.
class?
My most memorable paper mache story was in elementary school. We did some sort of light project with paper mache, and there was a girl who did the whole Statue of Liberty. It was like half the size of an elementary schooler. It was really impressive and like well rendered. And I put my foot through it by accident, and she didn't forgive me for that until we graduated high school. There are like multiple stories of me being an idiot in elementary school and foolish people from our like youth holding it against me. And I don't know why. I try to be nice, folks. I really do. I'm human.
What plot do we want to go into? Because the log lady intro gave us no real direction. I guess we talked about Wyndham Earl mostly. Is there anything else we want to say about Wyndham Earl and Leo and the rock and roll youth?
I mean, so there's a thing I'm thinking about a lot. Like part of having my Twin Peaks experience be through other people is that their sort of takes on Twin Peaks tend to have a lot of effect on me, right?
Right, sure.
Like one thing that has been interesting is how little y'all talked about, though it's not as much of a thing anymore, but like the stoplight stuff that the show does a lot at first, right?
Yeah.
A lot of like, especially like Twin Peaks Rewatch is really interested in that and what it could mean, and y'all just don't really talk about it, and that's, you know.
I mentioned it. I think it's going to come up again when we talk about The Return.
Fair.
Okay.
But what I think there's actually specifically a line, a thing that Jake Rodkin says at one point in that show that has just really stuck with me, where he's talking about a specific shot that is just like really dramatic and really like full of meaning, except for the fact that it doesn't mean fucking shit, right? Which happens all the time in Twin Peaks. And he says it is noteworthy only in that it is noted.
Huh.
And I feel like that describes a lot of the way Twin Peaks uses like imagery and symbolism, where it is trying to make things striking without saying anything. And I don't think that's a problem. It's just sort of interesting. And I feel like this episode has a lot less of that, given, you know, like who we have, you know, like directing and stuff. You don't have, this isn't Frost. Or not Frost, excuse me. I think David Lynch is sort of the foremost, you know, noteworthy only because it is noted person. But you still get some stuff, right, where like, I don't know, like some of the stuff with like Bobby and Shelley is like, it is moving things along, but like there are moments where it feels like they're saying something, but they're kind of not, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating too because the director is Jonathan Sanger is a producer. So he definitely understands a lot about like, okay, what are the logistics of making this shot happen? What do we have to put together or assemble to make this happen? And I think that's where the chess piece, for example, makes a lot of sense to me. And it's also how you get a like directorial moment, like when Cole mentions the 3/4 view that we'll talk about. The camera actually does that, and it's like, this is a person who's thinking about like how we put these shots together and what does it take to make each of these scenes happen. It's a really strange style, and I agree that it ends up leaning to even a decent amount of imagery for the sake of imagery, but otherwise, like, this is a fairly straightforward episode. The one like creative choice that I found unique and interesting was our new transition is no longer pan through the woods or a pan over donuts or anything like that. But there's like 2 or 3 shots of a hooded figure, and then we zoom in on the hooded figure's like, you know, black silhouette into the next scene. They do that
through
I think,
like a sea of stars.
Yeah, and the only time we've seen a sea of stars before. Oh yeah, it's just it's copy paste all of the Twin Peaks visuals we have in our like image library. It doesn't necessarily have to mean anything, but it almost makes this feel like a Halloween special or something. And maybe that's just because that's like the mood I'm in, but I mean, it's like it's April 1991. And you're about to finish this series, and we're doing like weird, corny Halloween transitions. I don't know. I found it directorially kind of strange for that reason. But I do like your point, Six, about the whole, like, this is a show that sometimes is just doing images for the sake, or paraphrasing Rodkin's point, images for the sake of them. It's a weird one, though. It's a really strange one, and I think that the Wyndham Earl stuff continues to be interesting. I sort of view what Magellan was talking about earlier as, like, Wyndham Earl is a Inspector Gadget villain, or he's Dr. Doofenshmirtz if you're a younger millennial and you watched Phineas and Ferb, where he just has, like, infinite money to make gadgets and gizmos, and he has a crossbow and a CRT TV, and it's like, where are you getting these? Like, what? I don't even think about it because he's absurd,
I mean, this is the episode where he is hard solidified as a hilarious, incompetent loser.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he's had all this ridiculous posturing around him. He's had this ridiculous atmosphere, and you get tons, even in this episode, you get tons of, like, Dale Cooper being like, he is so stupid and crazy that he's brilliant. I can't possibly keep up with his mental gymnastics. He's incredible. And then the end of the episode is like, he sets up this thing, and they open up the box on the gazebo through, by the way, the most whack-ass method. We'll talk about that maybe. But and the reveal is, next time I'll do something that matters. Like, why didn't you do something that matters this time, buddy?
Right. The note says next time it'll be someone you know. And it's like, yeah, we know. That's been the thing for this whole time.
You've built up to the fact of nothing.
Yeah. It's just so odd. It's so odd to watch this villain who, in a way, he's like kind of almost a stand-in for this conversation that we're having about the show, where like all of Wyndham Earl's choices are him drawing attention to things for the sake of having attention on them. And he's like creating arbitrary rules for himself of like, well, I have to do it this way, or like I have to highlight this thing. Why aren't you making some kind of point at this point? We know you're here. We know you're scary. We know you could do a murder. So he's like waiting for the big plot event to happen because that's like the arbitrary decision we've made, is that the season has to end with the Miss Twin Peaks contest, which is silly.
But at the end of the day, he's this bizarre invented villain that the series kind of pulls out of thin air. And then when he finally kills someone, it's a character he pulls out of thin air, right? Like,
right.
He is not like, he only has one foot in the show. And the show, it's kind of funny because it reminds me of like, apologies for this, right? But like sometimes you get celebrities or like MMA fighters who are in the WWE, in the World Wrestling Entertainment, and the WWE makes a huge fucking deal about it. They're like, holy shit, this guy's the coolest guy you've ever met. He can take on half our roster at once and he'll just destroy them. And the person doesn't give a shit. He's going to be gone in a week and he'll never think about you again. Why are you investing so heavily in someone who doesn't fucking care about you? And that, like, in a way feels like Wyndham Earl, because for all his ridiculousness and his drama and him laying out like the White Lodge and the Black Lodge in a way to try and make himself like integrated into the essential core of the story, ultimately it's really easy to talk about Twin Peaks and never fucking mention him.
Oh yeah. Well, and we had this funny thing where one of our friend Michelle from Full Metal Analyst
who was incredibly wrong about The Return, but go on.
Oh, this is what I love to hear. But Michelle talked about the first time he watched the show, skipping a bunch of episodes and then getting to the end of season 2 and being like, oh my God, there's this character here I'd never heard of before that I want to learn more about, Wyndham Earl.
Oh, is that, like, you bleeped it out on the episode. Is that who it was?
That's who it was. And I think that's so interesting because when you see where Wyndham Earl ends up and is like put at the end of the season, not to spoil anything because we're not in the spoiler zone, but when you see what happens, you're like, oh, I bet this guy was like important. And it's just that he was made use of for the sake of the end game plot because he was around. And it's like, well, we have to make him matter for some reason.
David Lynch is like, I mean, I can't just ignore this man as much as I would like to.
Right. He's here. Like, I have to do something because he's been set up for the whole season. But like, he ultimately is inconsequential to like the story of the show, which is such a weird thing to sit with because the like evil of season 1 and Leland and Bob was like so fundamental to the show and so fundamental to the message of what the show is trying to say. And now we're in this space where we're like experimenting and playing games and trying to figure out, okay, what's the next villain? And I think if there had been a season 3 or a season 4 at the time when this was originally airing, they might have been able to figure it out and like get to an antagonistic force that was like more meaningful. But they just didn't have the time to do it. And so instead we're left with this like vestigial villain who has to like make up little arts and crafts projects for himself because he wasn't written with anything to do.
And I also feel like there's a arc you could have told with him where, I don't know, I again, I got to kind of dance around spoilers here, but I feel like you could have had a scenario where Wyndham Earl is kept around and he, you know, finally really gets his wish, gets involved with the Black Lodge shit, and basically the Black Lodge is like, buddy, you ain't shit, you're a cartoon character. And he's like, oh man, I did not know like what the world was really like, and then have him have this realization. You know, I think it could be interesting to have a cartoon character realize they are a cartoon.
And like, you're messing with forces that you're not capable of reckoning with, which, you know, is a really interesting, because he talks in this episode, like if we want to get into what's the material usefulness about this one, he talks about the difference between the Black and the White Lodge, and the White Lodge is full of what he calls like, you know, useless people who have nothing but like filthy morals, and the Black Lodge is where you have power, and if you want power, you have to go to the Black Lodge. So like, there's useful stuff being like spoken by him, but yeah, in terms of like what he's materially doing, he's basically like, you know, patching. He's in a loading screen or something, waiting for like the thing to start, or he's in a lobby.
He also, I'm not a big like Black Lodge, White Lodge fan, but like, I don't know how anyone could be the way Earl like lays it out here. It is just the most like mind-numbing story he tells.
There's a good place and there's a bad place, and the bad place is cool and the good place sucks. Okay. What does that mean? Why do I care?
Oh, by like a bad place, what I literally mean is just like, there's a house you can go in.
You can go.
That's where the bad guys are. Yeah.
They all party in there. Which, whatever.
Gonna go egg the Black Lodge.
I don't personally dislike the Lodge stuff, but it's not fleshed out yet. When it is fleshed out, get back to me, and we can talk about Lodge lore for a while if folks want. But like right now, it's just like a thing. It sounds like someone's like, you know, lake house. Like, yeah, at the lake house we do all sorts of weird shit. It's like, okay, cool. I would love to go there. But in the real world of Twin Peaks, where real things happen, we have an assortment of absurd plots that, again, if you're calling this the worst episode of Twin Peaks, I don't know what you're coming to this show at this point for.
Right.
Or if I realistically am trying to answer that, you're coming for the like mystery stuff. And the thing about Twin Peaks season 2 is there's a little bit of mystery stuff in every episode. So I don't know why you can even say let's skip this one, because there is still Lodge lore stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I could see it be the people who are like, who killed Laura Palmer, but like, you know, and have known for a while. So if that's why you're coming, why are you here?
So long.
I mean, I think
watching.
Here's why someone might say this is the worst one. It's because like at this point, all of the plots in this one are purely season 2 stupid plots. Like it's not like earlier episodes in season 2 where it's like there's the James plot and you're dealing with that, but on the other side of things there's like other stuff, you know, that you know, or that is from earlier, or even the one that we talked about with Charlie recently where Josie gets turned into a doorknob, a drawer pull. In that episode, there's actually a lot of plots that are grounded in like season 1 stuff. But this one, what are the plots? The plots are Wyndham Earl, the mayor, Lana Milford is with the mayor, Cooper talking to Annie. There's a nice little John Justice Wheeler scene. There's
brief but satisfying.
Dick Tremaine hosting a wine tasting for the
best part of the episode.
It is okay. It is great. It is also not a plot. It's just a scene that happens.
Yeah.
It's just like a Monty Python bit, and it's great.
The puzzle box thing.
Yes.
That's in here. So it's just a lot of like, I don't know, kind of nothing plots that are recent inventions.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why someone would watch this and be like, what am I here for? What is anchoring me to this episode, making me want to watch it? And the answer is that it's fucking goofy as all hell. And the mayor makes like 3 distinct mayor laugh noises in the span of a minute. And I do have that clip right here, and I am going to play it, and it sounds like this.
I'll do anything that body and mind can stand. Surely the last few days have been proof of that.
He's like,
It's just
that guy is unmatched. He is the best comic actor on the show, hands down.
Whoa, true. John Boylan, if folks are curious. Did he do anything else? Is he still alive? Please be still alive. Please be still alive.
How would he still
Come
be alive?
American actor. Damn it! 2014.
By the way, have you
you're
talked
really
about some of the
lasting a
fun
while.
stuff with with Kenneth Walsh, the actor behind Wyndham Earl?
No,
How
I
he
don't
wanted
think
to be on The Return, but they didn't ask him.
Well, I was gonna just do like just fun filmography facts, like the fact that he
Sure, yeah, let's
in
hear
different
it.
movies he both played Truman and Dewey from the famous Dewey Beats Truman. You know, like he for various movies he has been so many different
Oh.
politicians that he has been both.
Oh, he does
sides
look like
of the
Harry
same election.
Truman. Whoa. He has like a face that you could tell me looks like a lot of different faces, and I
Uh-huh.
would believe it.
Yeah.
That's
He's
funny.
got a presidential face. He was in Miracle, which is that's not the hockey movie with the guy who plays Truman. He was in The Fog. God, he was in a lot of things.
Yeah. He's been Dr. Watson a lot of times from Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
He's been Drunk Santa. He's had a great career,
We've all been drunk Santa at some point in our lives. I mean, who among us?
and of course, still kicking, still working.
Yes, thank goodness. For season 4, they're gonna bring him in. It's gonna be incredible.
I mean, season 4 needs to be the high school AU.
Where they actually go. The AU is that they actually go to high school.
Yeah, it's like the fucking it's like the Evangelion high school AU, right? It's just
sure.
Wyndham Earl's like the mischievous upperclassman, and Leo's a junior, but he's really edgy, and the girls are really into him.
It's funny that that's a thing in Evangelion because like they do go to high school in the real reality.
It's true.
It just is so fucked up by the context of their world.
Yeah, people who haven't seen Evangelion are like, "What do you mean high school AU?" I mean, literally in the show, even Neon Genesis Evangelion, there's a never mind.
But
and
also-
then I can't explain anymore.
But also they've spun it off into full on.
Yeah. There's like books and manga and games and stuff of that AU. It's
Right.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But last thing on Wyndham Earl, by the way, I just like that Hawk when tracking him, which again I forgot tracking. He knows Earl's gait. He's like the way he walks. I can tell that this is Wyndham Earl, which is kind of ridiculous.
I think Cooper recognizes it.
I could have sworn it. I have it in my notes.
I'm
that
pretty
it's
sure.
Hawk.
I'm pretty sure it's Hawk, and then I think he shows like the shoe tread to Cooper, and that's the part that
Oh.
Cooper gets.
Yeah.
I
got
see.
it.
We do have that puzzle box that you mentioned earlier, Magellan. Worth mentioning only because this is, you know how before we were like, why introduce Annie so late into the show? Why introduce Wyndham Earl so late or whatever? The puzzle box is them actually realizing the show is ending soon. Because the puzzle box is something you introduce in season 2, episode 1, not in season 2, episode 19 or whatever. To be like, okay, well, we have this puzzle box. It was sent to us, but it's Thomas Eckhart's box. What could be inside of it? And then
Do you
Pete
remember
Martell.
what's in it, by the way? You don't have to say, but do you remember what's in it?
No, I don't.
Me neither. I have no idea.
I'm
I
sure
do
it's
not-
something
do not
really
remember.
stupid.
Yeah.
But the way that they figure it out is Pete, the absolute legend himself. Now I remember what it is. I looked it up. It's not that cool. Pete just drops the fucking box and he goes, "Oh, It opened.
And then I like that he took out the inner box and tried to drop it too to see if that would work again.
Yeah, can I just keep doing this? Yeah, that plot's gonna get stupider. It's like how boys go to Jupiter. That plot gets stupider.
Oh, I just looked it up too. Okay.
Yep. Does Bobby not realize that he's a beautiful person, y'all? He tells Shelley at one point, the secret to life is to be a beautiful person. And it's like, Bobby, this is the same thing as him watching Invitation to Love and being like, this show's dumb. And it's like, Bobby, you are beautiful people.
Yeah. Right.
Really weird, because this is in the same scene where Lana, another beautiful person, wants Dwayne, another beautiful person, to rig the Miss Twin Peaks contest so that she can win. And she's very specific with Dwayne here.
Can I talk about the Miss Twin Peaks contest just for a quick second?
Sure.
Why they've been talking about it. My biggest problem with this is they've been talking about it for so long as like this assumption, like, oh yeah, all these characters are gonna do it. They're gonna do the Miss Twin Peaks contest. And I've already talked before about how shitty that is, that the pretense for like how we're gonna gather all our female characters is for a beauty contest. Like, you wrote that, you made that up. That didn't have to be that, and you chose that as the thing in the Laura Palmer was murdered in this show. Anyway, on top of that, it's now been like gotta be like 10 episodes of knowing that the beauty contest is happening, and we're finally starting to establish reasons why people want to be in it. And it's like, why didn't you do this earlier? Why is Donna doing it mysteriously? Why is Bobby like, Shelley, we gotta, you know what I mean? It just,
Why is Annie doing it?
why is Annie doing it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
Annie
any
wants to
sense.
feel normal.
By being the like queen of the town? Is that
It's
normal?
a thing it's a thing all the other women are participating in. So she's like, I don't know, I want to do something that people are doing. Like, I understand, like, I want to join the club or I want to be a part of a group of things, but it is like, you want to win it?
Sweetie,
is that
just
what
go
you're
to
saying?
McDonald's.
Yeah, if you want to be normal, just go to McDonald's. Yeah.
Right.
Where nobody knows your name.
And then it just
Like-
leads to all these lines where Pete Martell's like, we got a lot of hot ladies doing the contest this year. Oh, wow. This is going to be nice. Like, he starts the episode being like,
Spider-Man.
Miss Josie, I'm writing a poem about Josie. Shoot, it's my wife. What's up? And then he comes home and he's like, bada boo, whoa, wee. These hot ladies.
Listen, I don't know. Listen, I'm not one to criticize people for their accents. I'm bad at it myself. I'm actually atrocious at it. But you do really just put them in Brooklyn in a way that I don't understand.
I was doing Pete Martell's accent. That's how it sounds.
That's a flawless Pete Martell.
You know what?
There's a fish in the percolator.
You know what?
Yikes.
You've seen a lot more of the show than me. I guess I just have gotten a bad impression.
And then Doc Hayward's like, oh, what a great tradition. Lots of hot ladies year after year. What a proud thing we do. Whoa.
Got a nice pursuit, hey.
Hey.
From the double R.
Yeah, exactly.
The puzzle box is opened. Lana wants Dwayne to rig the contest. This contest is just silliness, honestly. And Annie, again, wanting to do normal things, is like, what's Cooper up to? Oh, by the way, sorry, just before I move away from the Miss Twin Peaks thing, there's a scene where Ben explains to the board, instead of being like the eco-friendly guy, now he's Ben Horn the feminist. He just put on a new hat today and said, it's no longer, the Miss Twin Peaks contest is no longer about big gazoingas and having a big honker on your bum, but now it's about having brains and brawn.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Ben really wants the Miss Twin Peaks contest to not be just like a beauty contest, but like a whole package thing.
No, he's just buttering them up so he can get them to like make it tie into the Stop Ghostwood. He doesn't actually give a shit.
Wait, are you saying he's not a good guy?
Oh, he's a great guy. It's just, listen, don't put words in my mouth.
Wait a minute.
But it's the same. That's why I mean it's the same thing as him trying to like go save the weasels. It's all a front.
Sure.
Once again,
Sure.
it's another front.
And it's unfortunate that we don't have other characters who are like genuinely voicing this critique of the Miss Twin Peaks contest. Like all the female characters are like, yeah, I want to do it. Sounds super fun. And the only person who's like, maybe we should rethink this is someone who is doing it for political gain.
Exactly.
And is disingenuous about it. Yeah.
This is in the same scene, by the way. There's not much to say about this, but in terms of my heart and the things that I love, this I'm about to describe is my favorite scene in the episode, truly. And it's Nadine talking to Mike. Well, Nadine's in the back, right? They're all at the are they at the Roadhouse, I think?
Yeah, they're at the Roadhouse.
Mike meets up with Bobby, and Bobby realizes he hasn't seen who was considered his best friend for like 2 seasons. And he's like, Mike, where have you been? He's like, I'm fucking this 36-year-old. And I'm 17. And he's like, dude, that's like weird. Why are you like having, going out with like an old lady?
I have Mike's response right here.
Thank you. Yes.
He says this.
Do you have any idea what a combination of sexual maturity and superhuman strength can result in?
It's so loud. I would put the Crash Bandicoot whoa there.
Bobby recoils so hard. It's
the funniest fucking scene.
It's like he's been bit by a snake. He just like flies backwards in place.
Oh man. I mean, this episode really it takes things that we've been like uncomfortable with and like this sucks. Like the whole Mike Nadine plot is really uncomfortable and I don't like it. And also that was really funny. And
Yeah.
It's causing me a problem because I laughed pretty hard at that. I hate to ask this question, but what could Mike
hear you giggling. I can tell when you're giggling through the line. Go ahead.
What could Mike have possibly said?
She pegs him so good. I wrote this down on my notes. I had to back away from my mic to yell that. She, for sure, they like do kinky stuff, right?
Well,
like she pegs him or...
I mean, I think that I do think the pegging is true. However, I don't think that would be a thing that Bobby would think was cool given his toxic masculinity. And so Mike would know Bobby well enough to be like, I should use a different example.
Right. Okay.
Well,
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then what could it be? It'd be like...
I mean, suck the chrome off
the
a
joke is
tailpipe. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yucky. All right. I'm sorry I asked.
I knew you would be.
But it's just like he said something so brief yet so powerful, and I'm going to be curious about that for the rest of my days.
And John, he says, she tore me right in half. Like a
Which
piece
is
of
better?
paper.
Us to the pizzas. The pizzas. You guys. Sorry, nobody understands that reference.
Nobody understands this reference. Come on now.
Nobody at all.
Nobody understands why Cooper and Annie are together.
No.
Oh, they're on the lake. I did not remember them like going on a date. Like they're really...
And kiss.
They're kissing. Dale Cooper is doing a kiss.
Like 5 episodes ago or whatever was like fake fly fishing in his hotel room.
I mean, the thing is, right?
I don't know about all this. Yeah, what do you got?
The thing is, this sucks. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, all right. No, it's just like I had a troubled past, and he's like, oh my God, I had a troubled past. And she's like, I don't know if I can ever get over it. I do like the realistic moment where he's like, can you tell me more about it? And she goes, can I not talk about it? Because it's actually pretty rare in these types of shows that the character stops and goes, I just met you. Wait a minute. Who are you? But she stops and then they are like, well, we like each other enough. And then they kiss on the boat and it's supposed to be a nature walk. And she's like, I love nature trips or whatever.
I don't want to keep like beating a dead horse on this, but I would, the whole time I was watching the scene with them on the boat, I was thinking I would like this scene so much more if Annie was Cooper's age.
Yeah,
would have made the scene way better.
I'm glad you said this because it's like, Cooper has had two romantic interests that we've seen, obviously there's been some discussion of Caroline, but that we've seen on the show, Cooper has yet to show romantic interest and sexual interest to anyone born within the same decade as him. And that's troubling to me.
You hate to see it.
And the thing is, like, I mean, I think it's clear by this point that Wyndham Earle is seeing Cooper develop this relationship with Annie. And he's like, oh, just like you had a relationship with my wife. And they're using Annie as a plot device to sort of like revive Caroline's ghost in a way. And so just like cast someone who's also Caroline's age.
Wait.
And like,
are you saying that Twin Peaks is using a young woman's pain as a plot device?
Whoa.
Wait.
Hold on.
What?
What are you?
I thought she was just hot, though.
Bobby, what are you doing on the podcast?
What's happening in here?
I'm going to turn this relationship upside down. Bobby, that's not a good thing.
It's not. No. Okay, Bobby.
Who
So they
recorded
kissing,
this
Wyndham Earle-
podcast? You did.
All of you.
They kiss. Wyndham Earle's watching. We zoom in on his face, and it's really awkward. It's like, hey, Wyndham Earle's here. it's fucking stupid. Let's be brief with a couple of scenes here, because they're giving us the time to the closing
Oh
time.
man,
They're playing
don't be a
closing time.
coward, Alan.
You want to talk about the wine spitting scene for half an hour? Yeah, me too.
I just think that Dick Tremaine is really showing his true colors by trying to make Lucy drink wine. A pregnant woman. How dare you?
Yeah.
And the mist that she does in his face, great.
How many takes do you think that was? That looked so fun to do. I want to do that.
I believe that Kimmy Robertson did it in the first take. I believe.
I wish she did it.
I bet she did it in one take, but she was like, "No, that one was no good. I guess we need to do it again."
Just over and over again for the chance to spit in his face.
You got who's the actor that plays Dick Tremaine?
I don't know. He's great.
Ian Buchanan. Because I want to imagine. I'm not going to look because I don't want this ruined for me. But I want to believe that there's an interview behind the scenes where Ian Buchanan's like, "No, she really did hate me."
I played a shitty guy.
Like we weren't acting there.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I wish if Twin Peaks season 2 was more popular, then it would have been like how the guy who played Joffrey Baratheon would get like yelled at in public because people hated his character and they thought that he was like his character, and he's like, "I'm a boy. Like, why are we like this? I'm just a man."
That's fun.
They do a wine tasting. There is a great, like, speaking of, character pairings that you didn't expect. Dick Tremaine and Ben Horne meet each other briefly, which is awesome.
I have a clip of that. I just love this particular bit.
Mr. Richard Tremaine. Tremaine, yes, right. Men's fashion, of course.
Ben Horne's just like, yeah, right. Yeah, that's who you are.
Yeah. The store that I own. The store that I own. Okay, good.
Right. And I really like the moment where Dick Tremaine's like, okay, and I'm going to get some workers' comp. And you see Ben decide not to crush him beneath his feet. And then he says to himself, like, "Oh boy, that was tough to not."
Sometimes the urge to do
feet.
bad is nearly overpowering.
I know that feeling.
This wine scene is fun. There's not much to say about it. They all taste wine. Andy swallows it when they're like, "And spit," and he goes, "Gulp," because he's fucking amazing. And I love him so much.
I really like the bit at the beginning where Dick Tremaine's like, "Some people say that reds are the only wine," and Andy's like, "Well, there's also white wine."
Yeah. Yep.
Sparkling wine.
I love Dick getting mad at him like, "Andy, stop. Yeah. Don't do bits, dude."
This is a version of the Andy, Lucy, Dick Tremaine show that just works a lot better than the fashion show from a couple episodes ago. For whatever reason, I don't know why it works better. It just does. I think part of it is
an objective that makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes it clearer the sort of like, upper crust guy, the guy who's like posturing as upper class but is like a buffoon, and the guy who's not posturing and is also a buffoon. And then Lana Milford being there is like a lot of Lana Milford for one episode, but she's good in it. I really like this exchange.
we must first examine the nose of the wine to see what it can tell us about its bouquet. And we do that by
smelling.
That's it. Best.
Very good,
Alan.
Lana.
Did Lana?
Yeah.
Very yeah. Did Lana always have like this thick Southern accent?
I think she does it.
Yeah, I was about to
inconsistently,
say,
but
I
she's
think it
supposed
comes
to be
and
Southern,
goes. Yeah.
Great work,
Yeah.
great work, incredible acting. Yeah, it's also just a fun way to watch all the cast, like all of the C tier cast, to do something fun. I want to say Cole and Shelley for last because it's brief but satisfying, and chronologically happens later, but was weirdly entertaining. Was Cooper and Wheeler sharing a drink in front of a fire and talking about the good and bad parts of love?
Yeah.
This episode, I wrote in my notes, felt like they were doing the thing where they roll the dice and say, which character pairings haven't we done yet? We're wrapping up soon. Who hasn't met who yet? Cooper and Wheeler? Sure. Let's have them. What would they talk about? Well, Wheeler's dealing with Audrey and love and in business and stuff, and Cooper's dealing with Annie. Put them together to talk about love. They have a drink together. It's great. It's easy peasy, good character work here.
It's just
And it is the
just
best Wheeler
such
scene.
classic like dramatic irony, adding a little tension to it for us, but not for them. They get to really open up to each other, but we get to know like, oh, if they would, if they, and that's just fun. I mean, that's just good storytelling. That's just fun stuff.
Yeah. And then the bellman brings a telegram that says that Wheeler's close business partner in Brazil has been murdered, and he's like, I gotta go. Yeah, or whatever.
It's good because it's a good
sorry.
performance from Billy Zane, an actor I am inordinately fond of, but who I don't think shows that well in the rest of the show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's when I say it's the best scene of him in this episode, that's I kind of mean it. Like, it is just good. Hey, what do you think of love is? Well, it hurts, and it doesn't make sense. If it's irrational, then if it's rational, it's not love or whatever. Like, good lines here.
It also does a lot to invest me in these two romances that I just like don't I don't like them. I don't like them structurally in the show. I don't like the way they're being executed. There are a lot of reasons I dislike Wheeler and Audrey and Cooper and Annie, but seeing Cooper and Wheeler talk about their feelings in a very honest way and like taking the time to do that made me care a little bit more about stuff that I didn't care about. And I thought that was, the scene accomplishes a lot. And also just watching Cooper drink like a tall glass of milk by the fire, whatever it was that he was drinking.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
It's funny because also like earlier you mentioned like it works because they're talking about their relationships and just sort of talking about their feelings. But we do earlier get Cooper entering the diner and talking a little bit to Annie, and he is talking about the relationship and talking about his feelings, and it's so fucking creepy.
It sucks. It sucks.
It's
big
so
time.
gross.
It's the age thing. It's also like he's not trying to court Wheeler.
Well, also it's just the thing where he's doing the like it's strange. I get this weird feeling whenever I'm around you. And she is like making like has that like frozen deer in the headlights like, how can I get out of this conversation safely? Like that's it reminds me because I'm terrible of like fucking like Attack of the Clones, like Anakin and Padme, where like the actress is just like, this is awful.
Sure. And it, I mean, oh, go ahead, Al.
I was gonna make Star Wars jokes. Go ahead.
No, please. I want you to do that.
To me, the Jedi are evil. Check, please.
I mean, there's such a contrast. There's such a contrast between, and I'm not even saying that this is on Heather Graham, because I think Heather Graham is ultimately like playing this very realistically, and the plot sucks. But there's like this big difference between when Cooper goes in to kiss Annie versus when Gordon Cole goes in to kiss Shelley. And like the Gordon Cole Shelley situation is textually way creepier, right? And way, way weirder. And it's also works a lot better for some reason because it's Shelley's like, yeah, I'm into this. And you're like, okay, I don't know that that's good that the show's portraying this way, but it gives me license as a viewer to like laugh at the scene.
Yep.
And to see it as farcical as opposed to the Cooper and Annie situation where Heather Graham's playing it really straight, as I think she should. And what that's highlighting is this guy who took me out on a boat in the middle of the lake is leaning in and I have to kiss him back because of the implication.
Because I'm on a boat. What the fuck else am I going to do?
Right.
Leave. And it just makes you be like, why are you doing this?
Gordon Cole and Shelley have a little bit of a date. And like you said, Magellan, it doesn't feel as creepy as any other, as it definitely textually is. And I think part of that is intent. Like, Gordon Cole immediately establishes, like, I'm leaving. I'm not planning to, like, sleep with you. My intentions aren't to, like, take control of you. He's very sweet in that old man friendly way. And also is like, this isn't anything serious. I just think you're beautiful. It's sort of like if like an old man is like, I had a week to live and I would just like to kiss a beautiful woman. And she's like, yeah, sure. Fucking why not? Like, you're not asking to be gross with me. It's a little weird, but like, I'm okay with that because it's her choice to do that. She's okay with this. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's not like Annie where Cooper is like, I finally found the woman I love. There's no part of Gordon Cole who's like he says like, you're a miracle and you're amazing to me the way that like, yeah, creepy old guys say to women. But it just, because of the intent and also the fact that this scene has an out of Gordon eventually leaving.
And also
it feels harmless.
Bobby being there, right? Like, Bobby is riled up enough that if Shelley was putting off vibes of like, I don't want this to happen, Bobby would do something. Bobby almost does something anyway. You can see just sort of his stance in the moment.
Yeah. The
but then they kiss again.
But also, I mean, part of it is like part of what makes it complicated is that again, it's that Bobby is there. And earlier in this episode, you have like Shelley and Bobby having this conversation where Bobby goes like, hey, babe, Bobby's in charge. And very much this also feels like, I mean, Shelley is like, this old guy seems kind of cool, but also I would really like to rub something in Bobby's face because he's being a huge dick right now.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And she's going from Leo to like a guy who treats her well and is nice to her and like has no intention of doing anything with her. So like, yeah, I totally get why she finds Gordon Cole temporarily appealing. This is a harmless and friendly old man who is just trying to like be a little bit cheeky with me. And the way he talks about her and flirts with her is very like, I'm a poetic type. You know, I'm not talking about like what I'm going to quote unquote do with you, but he's just like, I can hear. It makes me so happy that I can hear from you. And that's it. He's not like, I'm going to do X and Y. It's just like, I think it's really cool that you're here and I love that about you and you're beautiful. Can I get one kiss before I leave? Great. In and out. Smooth sailing. Incredible.
Wait, one guy objected. Can we go for two just to show him?
Yeah, just to, 3/4 view. John, you and I, we've mentioned before, had a soundboard before you had this soundboard many years ago when we first watched Twin Peaks.
A digital soundboard website with some of our favorite clips.
Or just literally just because we're weird and we like sound clips.
Yeah.
And both of the iconic lines from this episode were on that soundboard. Do you have them on your new soundboard?
And we're in this scene.
Yes, in the scene, yes.
So I actually have these are the three lines because there was a line in between the two lines that Gordon Cole says that I think are the best. And I want you both to just vote on which one's your favorite. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So here's option A.
You are witnessing a front 3/4 view of two adults sharing a tender moment.
Okay. Pretty solid.
Good.
Initial thoughts on that one before I...
Strong front runner. Really. Of the ones I've heard so far, just clearly the best.
Best one I've heard so far. The cinematography talk is cute.
Yes, cute. I do like the self-referential nature of David Lynch.
It is accurate to both Bobby and where he's standing, but also to the way the camera is framing it.
Yeah. Here's the dark horse candidate, which is in between the two best lines. Or, evaluate it as you will, but here's option choice B.
Acts like he's never seen a kiss before.
That one's grown on me. The more that I've played it.
Acts like he's never seen a kiss before.
Good delivery.
Good delivery. Yeah. And then here's Here's option C.
Take another look, Sonny. It's going to happen again.
I love how rhythmic that one is.
Yeah.
I want to play drums to Gordon Cole. I feel like there's probably a TikTok out there of some guy plays drums to Gordon Cole.
I bet there's not actually.
Yeah, you don't think this Gen Z?
I see how you got there, but I think that is an unusual thought, Alan.
I've just been on TikTok a lot lately. Okay, I'm doing it for school. Yeah, I love that one.
Now, how would you feel about me playing all three at once?
Yeah,
You are witnessing a front three-quarter view of two adults sharing a tender
I think that's
moment.
my favorite, actually.
Yeah. Fusion. That's my three brain cells talking to each other after watching too much Twin Peaks.
What's everybody's vote? Which one?
I'm
the best?
I'm sticking
Number
with
3.
A. Actually, I'm sticking with number 1.
Okay, all right. I'll pick B just so that it has someone to vote for it.
You can't.
Nobody wins.
You
unless
can't.
do that.
You can't
Yeah.
pick something just because you pity votes are negative votes.
All right, my favorite one's this one.
Take another look, Sonny. It's going to happen again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Alan's right. It's the rhythm. For
It's
me.
it makes sense. You were not really picking a line. You were picking a friend. And you picked Alan, and that makes sense because I was in New York City this last weekend, and you fucking ghosted me.
Hey, man.
Ooh, kill him.
The story's cool, but you promised me beer.
Doubling down on how little you give a shit about me. Okay, I see how it is.
To be fair, we were in upstate New York, and Magellan's in downstate New York.
Come on, don't make
To
me
be
cry.
fair.
Yeah, there's no way to get between the two of those things. That's just impossible.
Nope, not at all. Nothing.
Acts like he's never seen a kiss before.
Thankfully,
He's never seen a kiss
thankfully, I never have. Hopefully, I never will.
Yeah, thank Christ. Yeah, they're on a date. I hope that their relationship lasts. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't. There's 2 episodes left of the show. Wait, 3 episodes. Groombo. Thanks, Magellan. Any stray notes about the episode?
Gordon Cole in that scene definitely said, "This world of Twin Peaks seems to be filled with beautiful women."
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Wait,
That
is what it
sucks.
says?
Huh?
Is that the line? Really?
I think he says "town of Twin
thought-
Peaks," but
But it sounds like world.
Okay. That's not the most important part.
no, it's really not.
There's a part where Annie slides Cooper a box of donuts, and it says donuts on it,
Mhm.
but it looks
Yeah.
like the Dunkin' Donuts
The
logo.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Is that a thing? I don't even know when Dunkin' Donuts was a thing. Was that?
I mean, I'm sure
intentional?
Dunkin' Donuts was around at the time. I will note that Dunkin' Donuts is not really a thing on the West Coast. Yeah, 1950 is its founding.
Magellan, we've been to the first ever Dunkin' Donuts, FYI.
I know.
I've driven you. Yeah, I remember. Oh, you know. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
I know.
Forgot how memory works. Other people know things that I don't.
I do have to shout out the unhinged way that Cooper decides to open the box, where there's a lever that you pull to open it, and he used the evidence tape to tie it to a rock, and then walks away and shoots the rock. Just keep going with the evidence tape, bud. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Weird.
You're so right. Oh, I did not even think about that.
Maybe because he thought it would be an explosive, so he shot it so it would go boom.
He shot the rock.
That makes less
He shot
sense.
the rock.
He shot the
You're
rock.
so right, Six. I did not even think
It's a
about that.
completely unhinged way to do that. I mean, it is cool, but that just doesn't make any sense as a way to do things.
Yeah.
I do want to also mention the fact that we basically didn't talk about Owl Cave at all when it's pretty central to this episode.
Who cares?
The episode starts on it, I
And then
think.
continues on it because we get the Major Briggs and Project Blue Book but yeah, no, who fucking cares? Sorry to all the listeners who bristle at me swearing. It's subconscious. I apologize.
The beginning of the Laminator Owl Cave, someone's been there and they go, "Oh, it's Wyndham Earl." They draw the petroglyph and they're like, "Major Briggs, can you help us with this?" And he says, "Yes, I can help you with
Though
this."
also when Andy is drawing the petroglyph and Major Briggs is sitting there, he's like, "You got a line wrong." And Andy's like, "How do you know that?"
Because he works for the fucking aliens. I mean, the government. I mean, wait.
Yes, you got it right both times.
Yep.
Mhm.
The lizards. There you go. Obama lizard theory.
The last thing I'll say about this episode is there's this scene where Truman goes to talk to Catherine, and Catherine gives like a surprisingly empathetic description of Josie and like what she was dealing with. And I thought that was such an interesting and well-written moment for Catherine Martell to care about Josie and recognize like, yeah, she was put in pretty shitty situations. And then Truman is like, but she was so beautiful. And Catherine's like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's hard for me to swallow though, because Catherine, I mean, like a lot of characters in her like plot circles, is a very big manipulator. And Josie is just a truly ridiculous character whose actions very often make absolutely no sense.
yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. I think it's like it's good on its own, but like taken as a larger picture of like Catherine as a character and Josie as a character, I don't know what to make of it.
I think the thing that distinguishes Catherine from like Ben Horn's manipulative nature is that Ben Horn kind of like manipulates for the sport of it. Like his involvement in the mill plot was he just double-crossed a double-cross because he wanted to. Like it never really made sense why he was working with Catherine and Josie.
Well, I feel like it starts out he's working with Catherine because he's like, oh, we can, burn down the mill and get this money. And Josie's like, check it out. Also $1 million life insurance policy. And he's like, oh yeah, that's more money. That makes sense.
I guess that's fair.
I mean, but you are right.
But yeah, what I was going to say is Catherine Martell strikes me as someone who like, once the game is over, she'll
like, say GG.
Why not just be honest?
Yeah.
She'll say GG. Exactly.
She'll log off the Discord call. Yeah. Oh, what do you think Catherine's Discord name is?
Do you want me to answer that?
No, not anymore. Not after that preamp. Wait, actually, please. I kind of do.
Okay. Give me a second just to make sure I get it right, because I don't want to fuck up the joke. Right?
Oh, it's gonna be like a race, like because Tajimura.
Yeah, it's gonna be Mr. Tajimura. It's her Discord name. Or no, you know what? You know what? It's probably Mrs. Tajimura because she's being cheeky about it.
I was gonna say, I know those toes.
Yes, it's
Whoa!
Name.
Wow. All right.
That's my Discord name, John. Anyways, Six, thank you for discussing one of what is still considered by fans to be the worst episode of Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay.
But considered by us to be one of the best.
It's a highlight of the season 2.
Sorry.
My face rolled all over the soundboard.
Drop something on myself.
This is what happens. Nick has a soundboard and it's hooked up to his numpad, and so sometimes we'll be on a call and he's like, "Oh, it's asking for my one-time password," and he starts typing and it's just a cacophony.
Booty. You, my friend, got home. Oh, good stuff. Six, you were gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say thank you to Alan for cutting me off, because I would have just kept going. But been a real pleasure. I've been enjoying the show a lot. Enjoying my continued journey through Twin Peaks through the eyes of others, because I think ultimately the best trust I can offer is saying I don't need to watch the show. I need to know what you think.
Whoa!
And I really appreciate the job y'all have done. I am here to say this podcast is better than Twin Peaks Rewatch.
Let's go. That's too much. But
also
thank
to
you.
say one more time that Michelle
Take
was
another
totally
look,
wrong.
Sonny. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, it is. Michelle was wrong. Thank you. Hashtag Michelle was wrong. Don't make that the hashtag of the week, folks. Thank you, though. That's mean. We love you, Michelle. Please come back on our pod. Anyways, Michelle, what are we watching next time on PeaksChatz?
So next time on PeaksChatz, we are watching season 2, episodes 20 and 21, which are The Path to the Black Lodge and Miss Twin Peaks, respectively. First off, The Path to the Black Lodge. Bobby and Shelley reaffirm their love. Great. Love those kids. Cooper calls Shelley, Donna, and Audrey together to warn them about Earl. About time. And then Briggs shows Cooper a tape of Wyndham Earl making a report on his quest for the Black Lodge. Okay. Lots of Wyndham Earl stuff. stuff, I guess.
Good.
And then in Miss Twin Peaks, Wyndham Earl sets his sights on the Miss Twin Peaks contest. We know.
Great.
Lucy chooses a father for her baby. Oh, finally.
Who's she gonna pick?
Okay, spoiler line that I'll skip. Annie and Dale make a commitment.
I'm just picturing the scene from the end of What Hot American Summer where they're like, back here, 25 years, 3 o'clock sound good?
Yeah, let's say 9:30 in case we're late.
In case we're late, we want 3 o'clock, but we'll say 9:30 in the morning, and we'll be really late. It'll be awesome. Fantastic.
Anyway, that's our penultimate season 2 episode.
It's true.
Coming up.
Once we're over that hump, it's all quote unquote up from here.
Yeah.
Thank you again to Six. Can you tell the folks where people can find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Six Dettmar, SIXDETTMAR, and you can find my work at scanlinemedia.com or patreon.com/scanlinemedia. I do a lot of podcasts.
That's amazing. People should listen to all your podcasts, especially the ones that have me on them, like the Jodo Quorum and the Garnet Wager. I'm sitting here with a physical, actual garnet that co-host Nick gave me for spoiler alert, winning season 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I have one too, but mine isn't the first place one, so it's less.
Yeah, that's for true. Wait, he really gave you one? What the fuck? I feel betrayed.
He gave us both one. You were there.
I was probably drunk. We will do our plug zone next. That's what we will do. That's what's going to happen right now. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to ChattsPod. If you would like to email us questions, comments, or concerns, please check chatspod@gmail.com for your email zone. Please check @chatspod for your Twitter zone. And please check reddit.com/r/chatspod for your fan-run Reddit zone. You can also rate us, review us, give us feedback over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your podcast platform of choice is. It helps get the show out there, and we would deeply love if you did that. Please. We have a Patreon where you can get all sorts of fun bonus content, some of which features Six, actually. And that's over at patreon.com/chatspod, where at different tiers, you get different levels of content. Magellan's been watching the X-Files over there and having a rip-roaring good time. We are watching movies. We are spinning wheels with decisions, picks made by the patrons for what we watch every month. And for the month of October, our theme is going to be stuff that's, what is it? What's the specific wording of it, Magellan?
Don't scare Magellan.
Yeah, it's like Don't Wake Daddy, but it's Don't Scare Magellan.
Yes,
so
it actually is based off Don't Wake Daddy.
I love that we have that brain meld there. That's great. Movies that are, or movies or media that can be considered Halloweeny or spooky, but is not actually scary or intending to scare. So if you're a $5 patron, you get a thank you at the end of every main episode, and that includes Kat, Marcus, Nick and Pat of the Brothers at Infinite War, Fendon, Six. Wait a minute.
Hi.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
Stefan. Thank you all so very much for supporting Chats the Television Podcast and keeping the party train going. We have a website, chatspod.com. That's where you can find all things related to chats, including links to the past seasons. And our podcast art is done by Camilla, who can be found at Camillastrator on all the social media platforms. We like to wrap up every episode of Chats with a segment called Chatsums, where just like the Vlasic Snackums, we give you a little treat to snack on between episodes of the show. Six, as our esteemed and honored guest this week, can you tell us what your Chatsum is?
Sure. So my Chatsum is a YouTube. No. No, it's actually that UK rap is the best. I'm here to talk about
for roasting
the
both
New
of us.
England.
Yep.
Sure. I started to say New England like an idiot. So, we'll skim over that. The New York Islanders. Hockey. Have you heard of it? It's good. Yeah.
Key.
So my secret in sports is to find a team that is like interesting and fun and bad. That's why I like the Angels.
In the outfield.
Okay.
And that's why, in baseball, I should say. And that's why I like the Islanders. Shout outs to any Islanders who are going to send me very angry messages. New Yorkers cannot be chill. I understand. It's fine. At Six Dettmar, send me your hate. DMs are open. But the Islanders are a really fun team to watch. They have a lot of pretty inconsistent players, But I just want to shout out like Scott Mayfield, great defender, really underrated, solid player, and Jean-Gabriel Pagot, who's just a really solid player. A lot of streaky players, as I say, on the Islanders, and having a few like solid rocks who just perform really great. Hockey's great. Watch hockey. It's fantastic. It's so fast. It's so fun. It's so physical, and it's just a great spectacle.
I like sports, and I don't care who knows. I actually would like to watch hockey with you sometime. I've always been vaguely curious about it.
ESPN Plus is $7 a month.
I recently I never had an ESPN subscription. I leached to friends because I was watching F1, but now I just pay for F1, so I don't have ESPN Plus anymore. I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll watch clips.
Yeah. Something. Yeah, it's hockey games, I think, have a great energy. They have great like tempo where like when stuff's happening, it's happening really fast, but you have a lot of very natural breaks. It's easy to tell who's winning. There's a lot of movement, and like the rules make sense. Like icing is the one to figure out, but you very quickly go, okay, you're not allowed to hit the puck from one end of the field to the other. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it takes a lot of the things that are good about something like soccer or something like basketball, where you have like these dedicated roles, and sort of a rhythm and like a strategy to it, but also adds a speed and physicality that is sorely lacking in those games. Not saying that it doesn't take physical, but it doesn't necessarily convey as much. Watching people kick a ball back and forth, you can't necessarily tell. But when you see people like slide shoulder check someone through a sheet of glass, you're like, I understand that took some skill, and also was probably a foul.
Very likely, yes. Damn, the good, the best sell possible for hockey. Magellan, do you have a chatsum for this week?
I got a couple chatsums. I chat some Chex Mix before. Ever heard of this stuff? They're mixing together various bits into a mix, and I had some Chex Mix recently. I love Chex Mix. God, it's good. Go get you some of that Chex Mix. My next two chatsums are YouTube channels.
Hey, by the way, for a good friend of ours recently was like, Magellan always chats some stuff like going outside, and I was like, you don't listen to the chatsum segments because you must have heard the first like 10 and you stopped listening to them, because Magellan's real thing is that you chat some YouTube channels, and I love that. And please tell me what the channels are.
The first is this guy named Leo Vader, who just does kind of video essay stuff. He has a really fun one about ketchup and whether ketchup is good or bad. And he brings in various people's perspectives. But he has some other ones that just kind of vary in genre and tone. And I think he could really, blow up soon. And it's like, oh my God, whoa.
He could go all the way this year.
He could go all the way this year. So keep your eye on Leo Vader because he's doing cool stuff. And then the other thing I would recommend is the creator of Patreon, who we, hey, thank you, Jack Conti. He has a YouTube channel called Professional Musicians React, where he gathers together other professional musicians and they break down famous tunes. And the two that I watched were on the song September and another one on the song, what's that one? The George Harrison song, Here Comes the Sun. Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes. And I never knew, and they broke it down. Here Comes the Sun has like a freaking synthesizer in the background that's like doing crazy stuff, and they play it and they talk about it. So it's a pretty cool little YouTube channel. And then here's my last one, reminding folks that there are lots of great Picross games on the Switch. And
hell yeah,
there was a recent Picross release as of August where it's a Picross game where all the pictures are Sega characters or items or properties. So if you want that extra layer of entertainment and you want it to be Sega themed Picross, it's there. You just got to go find it on the Switch.
What's the game called? Do you know?
I don't remember. Just search Picross and it'll be close to the top.
Honestly, you can't go wrong with basically any variant of Picross.
I believe it's Picross S.
Picross S. Yeah, it's part of the Picross S series of
Gotcha.
Picross games.
Picross X, like Sega edition or something
like that. Yeah.
Nice, dude. I do love Picross. That's the truth of it all.
Yeah. Alan, what about you? Do you have a chat some?
So nobody ever teases me for my chat sims, even though mine are also somewhat basic because a lot of them are music. But not this time, folks. I have been binging a TV show that you, the listener, have heard of, and you are sick of hearing about. But I'm here to tell you that
I was
you need
literally
to
about
push...
to chat some, talking to people about this show, having not seen it. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, that's really good. You can you have a light and dark side. You have a Black Lodge and a White Lodge choice here. Either go watch Squid Game or talk to people who have seen it and want to describe it to you. I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's my brief spiel. I love to preach at people. You're allowed to like the thing that's popular. You don't have to feel bad for either not watching it or for watching it. None of those things should make you feel bad. Life is very short and you have plenty of other reasons to feel bad. The show has some interesting, sort of anti-capitalist themes. It's very beautifully shot and produced. It is a very compelling and gripping mystery that uses the serialized format brilliantly. The performances are really inspired and clever, and the character work is put front facing and forward, which is awesome. In a show with a mystery, it doesn't suffer from that whole mystery box issue. And it's just entertaining. It's not extremely unique. A bunch of people go to a place and do challenges to the death. You've seen this a trillion times. But Squid Game handles it in a very engaging and entertaining way. And I truly, if anything, I'm using this Chatsum space to say, you don't need to, it's okay to like the thing that people are talking about. Or if you don't want to watch it, don't feel bad. I don't know. Fucking live your life. I'm having a great time watching it. I'm halfway through the season and I think it's dope. I can't wait to finish it. I get to watch all the memes online and be like, I get it when they do the red light, green light thing, or, the cookie game. Like, I think that's hilarious and they're fun. Sometimes it's enjoyable to be a part of the conversation. No, you don't have to, but it's fun. I enjoy it. Squid Game. Check it out. It's on Netflix. There's a decent English dub of it, but if you watch the dub of a live action television show, then we are on different terms. You and I. Also, there was this whole controversy about the English subtitles versus the English closed captioning. If you really care, watch the English subtitles, not the closed captioning, but otherwise I'm enjoying it a lot. Squid Game. Cool. That's what we got. Thank you for being the rock and roll youth to my Wyndham Earl. And even though he has a name in the extended canon, I still like that he's rock and roll youth. That's really great.
I kept remembering it's Tomoski, but I kept remembering it as Tom Liot because of a mobile suit from Victory Gundam. Because I have brain parasites.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
Me too. Love that. I mean, me too, actually. So thank you, Six. Thank you, Magellan. Thank you. Yes, you, dear listener, for listening to this episode of PeaksChatz. Damn fine podcast.
Damn fine cod. That's what you say when you drink the coffee with the
fish in the percolator. Thank you.